Hey everybody, what's up? Chad Wesley Smith here for Juggernaut Training Systems, joined by my professor, my coach, Philipe Della. What's up, brother? How you doing?
How are you, coach? Thank you.
So Philipe has been training hard. He's always training hard, but training extra hard for the No-Gi Worlds. How are you feeling about training?
Feeling great. Always, pushing myself as best as I can here with Coach Chad, and excited for the tournament coming up next month.
And coming back to compete as an adult.
Well, we're still deciding that because
okay.
we're still deciding which division I'm gonna be in, you know. But excited for being in the competition again.
So in a typical week, you're here strength and conditioning with me 2 times, 1 extra strength and conditioning at home. And about how much jiu-jitsu are you training each week?
Well, jiu-jitsu every day at night, do at least 1 session per day, some days twice. And over here, 3 times, right? 3 times a week with the training, twice here, 1 at home. And to summarize, I think like 2 exercises per day, either a low base cardio in the morning with jiu-jitsu or conditioning here with jiu-jitsu tonight as well. And 7 days a week. Sundays I do the conditioning. That's my kind of rest day, just do 1 training in the morning, but try to stay active 7 days a week. But I've been doing this for being active like 6 days a week with hard training for the last 22 years. So it's kind of part of my routine,
Yeah, that's a pretty good routine, 22 years. And obviously you have sometimes in jiu-jitsu easier training where you just beat me up, and then other times with better guys and harder training with them. But so we're in the last phase of training for Philipe now, so we're focused more on power and speed. We let the jiu-jitsu be his conditioning and make him in shape for jiu-jitsu, and then he's doing some bike riding and stuff on his own. But in the weight room, we really just focus on being healthy, being powerful, and then letting the rest of his training kind of take care of itself. So let's have a good session.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Furao is a ferret, right?
Ferret, yeah.
Not many of. I'm trying to think of.
Furao sounds nicer, right?
It does sound nicer. I'm trying to think of nicknames that you guys like, Brazilian guy nicknames that are like, oh, that's like a tough name. We got the Cheeks,
Very
the
rare.
Ferret.
Yeah. We'll go after nicknames to make fun of them.
Yeah.
So.
What is Pew Pew?
Tweety Bird.
Tweety Bird?
Yeah.
All right. So this exercise is something that actually my physical therapist had been helping me with to improve rotation, but just teaching him to engage the hamstring and then to control the lumbar rotation, slow your movement down a little bit, Furao. Like no momentum in the sit-up. It's obviously in jiu-jitsu there's just so many tough positions, like positions that if you showed it to a physical therapist or a chiropractor or something, they'd be looking at you crazy. Deep flexion with rotation, but your joints are there for your body to move, so we want to be able to just control those positions as best we can. So this exercise, the active foot split squat with the polyp hold. Been really liking a lot of these active foot exercises, just because most sports, they're played on the balls of your feet, and a lot of weight room stuff is focused on being on a full foot. So just giving this active foot where he's having to hold the heel off the ground and propriocept. It's got some good qualities to it. And then polyp press, polyp hold, always useful variation to keep the low back and hips healthy. And then, we can just kill 2 birds with 1 stone here. So Professor, as you said that you've been, training for 22 years, what are some things that you do that you think help you stay so consistent and disciplined?
I was trying through the career, I was always, disciplined with the training itself, trying to pay attention on my body, how my body reacts to the training and, do conditioning, do, stretching. And then at some point I stopped doing stretching. When you're young, you can afford to do less things. But I think right now I'm 36 years old. And after 30 years old, I start paying attention a lot more on recovery and things that, would make me stay longer with performing at the highest level, and pay attention on things that help us recover in smart training, I think sometimes we train so much for so many years, and you think our body will never get tired, never get old. And that's, if you don't pay attention to that, I think that's when injury start to happen. I mean, in jiu-jitsu and sports with contact, you can be one day that you're not focused on the training, it can be a bad day, you can have an injury. I think as a combination of for now, for example, is a good recovery. And always when you train, stay focused on the training, you know. I think that's the very important thing. Pay attention on your body movements and always focus. And I feel like most of the time when I get injured, it was time that I was not focused, maybe relaxed, not doing 100%, and your body tweak here and there. So I think that's will be one of the most important things, you know.
There's another well-known jiu-jitsu guy nicknamed Pew Pew as well, right?
There's a few.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you're...
There's a GB guy in Arizona.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Two.
Yeah.
Two brothers.
Is one of them just Pew and the other one Pew Pew?
So Grandmaster Pew, Master Pew, and Pew Jr.
Grandmaster Pew, that sounds more like a rapper name. And so you have a lot that you're balancing. You run now own two schools. You're teaching the students at the school. You're coaching many professional MMA fighters. You have your own training. You have your family, your twins. What are some things that you think help keep your balance in life to be able to do all those?
Well, we have to structure and prioritize things, right? For me, I prioritize my training. So I never miss training. If I have to, for example, schedule a meeting or schedule a time that I'm going to play with my kids, I always try to go around my training days or my training times, you know. If you know me well, like, you know, I always training. I never miss training. That's a number one thing for me, you know. And I try my best, you know, to keep that, you know.
When we say that he never misses training, there was a time about a year ago that there was fires happening, and Professor Philipe had to evacuate from his house. And you guys were staying at a hotel, right? And you were just out driving around. His twins at the time maybe just turned 3 years old.
Yeah.
And the kids are sleeping in the car, and I get a message, "Hey, Coach, can I come train right now? My kids just fell asleep." So then he comes, and the kids are asleep in the car, and he comes to train. He says, "I have 1 hour." And probably at 59 minutes into that 1 hour, gets a message, "Kids are awake." And yeah, so even if his house may literally be burning down, he will not miss training.
I think what most people do, like, let's say, training is never a big priority for anybody, you know, for normal people. And if they're busy on the day, if they have to do other things, the first thing they skip is the train. "Oh, I'll train later. I'll do this now. Oh, I have to go to grocery. I'll train later." And for me, I do the other way around, you know. Okay, my training are these times. Everything else, it goes in between. And I try to do that to keep the consistency, keep the body strong, and keep the training. It's like the lifestyle, you know.
So what we're doing with we call it a bounce press, using the pad press. Started doing that in shot put. It's like a very popular thing for shot putters to do, and then we do it with football players, sports, jiu-jitsu, football, shot put, whatever it is. It's about moving heavy shit fast, you know, being more powerful, not about just moving a weight slow the way that you could in powerlifting. Who do you think is the best jiu-jitsu of all MMA guys?
Now, I mean, Neyman is one of the best. Rodolfo Vieira is one of the best.
Neyman is now a knockout artist.
Yeah. Of all times, so many good guys, huh? Vice Gracie, number one, but Demian Maia, Jacaré.
So I really like this exercise a lot for jiu-jitsu guys, because there's so much of that one-handed explosive pulling in jiu-jitsu, whether you're breaking a grip, you know, collar drag, arm drag, is very good specific movement. So we've known each other for, I think, almost 12 years now. And as I look back at the training that we used to do with you guys 10, 11, 12 years ago, compared to what we do now, I think it's quite a bit different. And there's a lot of things that I would change about what we did back then. But you've had this very long career of doing jiu-jitsu, about 23 years, right?
Uh-huh.
And now what, 14, how many years as a black belt?
15.
15 years as a black belt?
16, yeah, 16 years, yeah.
So, of course, so you're getting ready for your fourth degree?
I'm already fourth degree, and I'll get fifth degree in another 3 years, yeah.
So, you know, most people watching this, they're probably white belts, blue belts, but if you could go back and give advice to white belts or blue belts, or you have white belts and blue belts, so many at the school, and give them advice about this part of the training, strength and conditioning part of training, or advice to you when you were younger, what would that be?
Yeah, I think, like, for example, this should have a complementary training between jiu-jitsu and like strength conditioning with, with a coach like you that understand what's going on, what we need, it's very important. I talk to people all the time. I wish I would have done this training when I was on my 20s, you know, when I was competing at the highest level. I think I would have done much better, like as far as performancing. You know, I'm happy with the results that I had on my career, but now comparing like myself now with 36 years old and myself with 26 years old, I think today I would beat myself 10 years ago, you know, because with experience, I guess everything in life, you get experience on things, you start learning better, how to train better, how to train smart, and but definitely the strength and conditioning training to support the body, to minimize injury, to make you strong, to make you reach your best as you're capable. I think it's important to have this balance, especially for, you know, guys who wants to train like 5-6 days a week. You want to keep compete and do, you know, serious work. But even a person who trains jiu-jitsu for lifestyle and wants to, you know, do jiu-jitsu forever, it's important to build the structure of your body so you can handle training, you know, especially after 30, 35, 40 years old.
So Professor Furao is the king of the iron neck. He likes to train the iron neck hard and then let people like me try and get him in a choke and then fail. Just so when I finish, my arms burn out and I can't finish the choke, and then he go, "Hey coach, you see that? Iron neck. Iron neck."
I don't want to miss that one. I'll be the ref.
It's a competitive planking contest.
It's plank,
I just
wrestling, jiu-jitsu all at once.
Because there's so much where the guys in jiu-jitsu, they're having to have, you know, stability in strange positions. So we've done stuff like plank and pull the sled with the rope, and then I just figured I would make it a more competitive head-to-head. So it's from high plank, each person holding one side of the ring, and you're trying to pull the other person off their base.
For me, it's just pure entertainment. I'm ready.
Well, actually, Professor Marco is a plank battle expert. As soon as he watched for 1 second, "Oh, you guys just do it like this. This is the best technique."
This is wrong.
Yeah.
You should do the other way. Combate.
There's so many and very prominent people in jiu-jitsu who they never lift weights or they never do any extra strength conditioning. They think just jiu-jitsu is enough training. What do you think about that approach?
I think like if you ask me anybody that question 20 years ago, I think the majority of people was not combining training with strength and conditioning in jiu-jitsu, was mostly jiu-jitsu training. But with the evolution of the sport, as any sport nowadays, I think all jiu-jitsu practitioners, and they are better athletes. You know, everybody's training better. You know, the resource for information with the internet is much easier nowadays, and with the evolution, you know, now if a person is a full-time athlete of jiu-jitsu, for example, not doing strength and conditioning, I don't think, you know, it would be applicable for this phase right now of the sport. You know, I think everybody's so athletic. People who don't do any type of physical training, I think they are missing something. They'll be behind. Obviously, there are some guys that are super talented, and they can kind of fulfill that gap with the big talent. But you know, that would be like 1%. I mean, a very small percent of people that would do. But even like thinking about long term, you know, I think it's important to have the training for longevity on the jiu-jitsu career, you know.
And right here now, live on YouTube, do you want to give Coach Chad his purple belt for everyone? Okay.
That's coming soon. That's coming soon.
All right, Professor.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
It was actually harder. It was harder than I was expecting it to be.
Oh, it's hard, yeah.
Because I figured I'd just be so much heavier. Well, there's the one thing that I can beat Philipe at.
One more, or are we done?
I'm done. I retire.